Hello, my name is Caroline, but today you're going to know me as Cleo, your muse of history, as together we uncover the truths behind myth, legend, and folklore. Cats are one of those animals that you either love or you hate. But what if they had magical power? What if they were as large as humans and they could walk and talk like us? Today we're going to explore these hypotheticals and see how the story plays out so you can judge for yourself. Would you like to meet the Bakeneko? Let's begin the Maria von Trapp way, at the very beginning. What is a yokai? They're paranormal phenomenons and supernatural beings that appear throughout Japanese folklore. We try to come up with an equivalent in English, but words like monster, ghoul, goblin, or ghost don't do the word justice. When you break it down, yokai is extremely complex and broad. This is the kanji that makes up yo. It means mysterious, bewitching, earthly. It's all very X-Files, Twilight Zone, but not necessarily dangerous. Kai means mystery, wonder, strange. The kanji for kai, while it might not sound like it to us, holds a heightened sense of horror and otherness. When you combine the words, they create yokai, but our direct translation never gets the full picture. The yokai can cover anything from ghosts and goblins to Bigfoot and mysterious illnesses. The best translation for us English speakers is probably mysterious phenomenon, since it's the most all-encompassing. The yokai we'll be covering today, though, is the Bakeneko. The best translation is the changing cat, though it can also translate into the monster cat or the ghost cat. Their story began back in ancient Japan, where cats were revered and seen as sacred animals. But with time, they became seen as supernatural, magical beings. Legend says that unlike the kitsune, who are born magical, or the inugami, who must die to gain its magical powers, most Bakeneko are cats who simply grow old enough to gain their magical powers. The changing process is a gradual thing. It begins with a cat walking on its hind legs. Then with time, it gains powers and grows to be the size of a human. Soon after, they're able to begin speaking and shape-shifting. A Bakeneko seems to me like every cat I've ever met, because they use their shape-shifting powers to troll humans. Because often their favorite form to change into is their owners. It's peak cat behavior. Depending on the region and story, they have an arsenal of powers that would make cat haters everywhere tremble in fear, including summoning fireballs, setting things on fire with their tails, controlling the dead. They can lick your food to cause illness, and if they saw fit, they would seek revenge and curse or kill their previous owners. So, the moral of the story is be good to your cats. Again, depending on who tells the tale, Bakenekos will appear different. Some say they have human features like hands and feet, and they wear clothes. So cute. Sounds kind of like that Studio Ghibli movie. While others say they appear like beautiful women with cattish features like elongated ears and swishing tail. Folktales say most Bakeneko prefer to live in isolation, like abandoned homes or temples where they can practice their magic without notice. But there are tales of Bakeneko who find homes of cats being mistreated and shapeshift into human forms and cause mischief on behalf of the cats being harmed. One of the most popular tales of the Bakeneko I could find has a colorful and royal history. The legend begins with the Mitsushige's retainer, Ryuzoji. I'm so sorry if I botched these. He served as a daimyo's opponent in the game of Go. I'm so sorry if I messed these up. Ryuzoji displeased the Mitsushige, and thus he was executed. Ryuzoji's mother was obviously absolutely distraught when he died, and she told all of her sorrows to the cat she'd raised, and then she unalived herself. It's said that licking up the mother's blood is how this cat became a Bakeneko. It then traveled the castle and tormented the Mitsushige every night. The Mitsushige's loyal new retainer, Komori, slayed the Bakeneko and saved the Nabeshima family. There are other versions of this legend as well, and they've gone on to be turned into plays, and this legend revolves around temples that have been built, and it's incredibly interesting, and I recommend you. It's often believed that if you have an old fat cat, you're safe. It won't become a Bakeneko. However, it's common practice in Japan to bob a cat's tail just to be safe. But cats were definitely not murdered in Japan. It was believed a murdered cat would put a curse on your family as well as haunt you for 7 generations. I honestly wish I was that ominous. The Bakeneko are curious creatures, using their powers like the Avengers of old, seeking to right the wrongs done to those they care about or they cannot protect themselves. While they may seem dangerous, they're actually very caring creatures, and so long as you're not hurting people, you shouldn't have anything to worry about, for the most part. There's actually a lot of media portrayal for this yokai, like Koru from Blue Exorcist, Two Tails and Nekomata from Naruto. Luigi's Mansion 3 even had one named Polterkitty. And the popular game Genshin Impact has a new character, Kirara. There's a small loophole with this representation though. Many of these shows or games calls the character a Bakeneko when the split Two Tails makes them a Nekomata. As I said, this is a loophole. Depending on regional lore, the Nekomata is considered to be a cousin to the Bakeneko or a breed of Bakeneko. From my understanding, it's like saying a tabby is a cat. In those pieces of lore, when Bakeneko grow very old, they become very powerful and have a sort of Pokemon evolution. They turn from a Bakeneko into a Nekomata. Their tails will elongate and split into 2. They become more powerful and more vengeful. While a Bakeneko won't usually be malevolent towards others without good cause, Nekomata are just straight up chaotic evil. They have tendencies to blackmail and enslave humans, and even control corpses like dolls with their necromantic prowess. All in all, while a cousin, the Nekomata is a more formidable and unsettling yokai. There are so many tales about the Bakeneko, and if you were to travel to Japan and ask the locals, you would probably hear some interesting stories that had been passed down through generations. Such an often misunderstood animal. This ghost story gave cats a protection from those who wish them harm, fearing generational curses if they dared to hurt a cat. I imagine it was a story created by a cat lover like myself, a way to shield these sweet animals. And if this isn't proof that stories have power, I don't know what is. A special thank you to my sister Rachel for requesting this folklore. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to let me know down in the comments what myth, legend, or folklore you would like me to cover next. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!